Hey, good morning, guys. So no negative news overnight and nothing that I've seen. But we did have some earnings and some pre-market movers. Some impressive and still down, right? And so we'll go over a few stocks which I have written down here. If you guys have any requests, just type them in the chat. If I have time, I'll try going over. But SPY index, a clean chart today. All I'm gonna say is we can look at all the top action we want to, but not until levels are broken, nothing is confirmed. So as long as SPY continues holding above the low of this day, which is November 10th, the low was 462, but here roughly 464, as long as we stay above 464, I think we're in a bullish market still. And if we give up 464, we're still in a bullish market, but we might just get some dip towards 455 and we might come test this top range of 453. But as long as 464 is held, I think we do see continued upside. And if we take out 470, and if we take out 470 and we hold, we likely go towards 480 and so on. All right, then all this gets avoided until the new technicals are formed. So SPY for now, let's just see if we can hold yesterday's lows, which was 466.23. As long as we stay above it, I think we're fine. If we break it, then we likely test towards 464 and then 463. All right, but for now, let's just play the levels. Qs, similar action, right? They've been carbon copy of each other. Same thing. On Qs, 380, 250 is a must hold. 390, as long as we keep holding 390, which we are, we're currently trading at 394. And if we take our yesterday's highs, the same thing goes with SPY. We likely see higher towards 400. And if we take out 400, then we keep continuing going up, right? The only thing here is we had the news yesterday for the rate hike. Initially, we did react negatively to it. So if I go and zoom in, right, tech will react negatively to any rate hike news. We did react negatively right here. Here's when the news dropped, and we had a huge flush, but it did not continue lower. They held it, right? So they digested the news, and then eventually we took out the highs right here from that news, right, showing strength in the market, right, which makes me more bullish on the market. So for now, I think as long as we continue holding these levels, we continue holding this low 392.50, we likely see much higher, right? But again, in this market, it's very hard to pick a side because you will see toppy action based on technicals, but at the same time, if you zoom out, you might even see it going higher, right? For the past many months, so if I go on the monthly chart, a lot of people probably thought that the top is in right here, right? A lot of people thought the top was in here. A lot of people thought the top was in here, but we've been just in a straight line for the past almost 1 year, right? And don't be surprised if something like this happens. We take out this from 400, we continue going towards 500. It's very possible, trust me, right? It can happen. Now, earnings. Walmart absolutely smashed their earnings. They beat their earnings, they beat their revenue. A little slow mover, not really an earnings mover as we know. And then it gapped up on the earnings. Boogie and I were awake early today. We saw that pre-market, they took the stock up towards 151, 159.9 was high for pre-market, and then they slowly started selling it off. I'm not understanding this move. Maybe it's just consolidation. Maybe they're just holding it down. They raised their guidance. Given the other retailers like Home Depot, Costco, Target, given their run in the past few months, Walmart has not ran, right? So here I'll just, again, for the past many months, I've just been saying one thing, 154, patience will win, 154 until we get it. But for now we're red in the market, pre-market. Do we go rip high today, or do we come and fill this gap near 141, 142, which is very likely, right? And we might bounce off this 200 DMA, which is right here, 200 daily moving average. So if you want to put your alerts, if you want to trade this name, trading a stock like this, Walmart, which moves less, it requires a lot of patience, and your entry has to be on point so you can get returns on your options. I'm holding some 155 calls, which were up huge, then they were down, and now I don't have too much hope for them, given that Walmart's almost $10 away from that strike, right? But if we do take a 150 today by any chance, 151, 152, which will signal strength, then we have 3 trading days left. Can we get all-time highs this week? Let's see. Numbers are impressive, growth is impressive, so let's see. But for now, I think the gap fill is likely, or you can simply wait until 154 is taken out. SCC Limited, one of our admins, LB, his favorite company, right? I don't doubt it. Their numbers, I was reading their earnings. The numbers are crazy. They have growth across the board in every sector they run. I won't go into too much details because I have a lot of tickers that I do want to cover. They have a new president for C Group, Chris Bang, which will be appointed in January 2022. He'll be working with Forrest, one of the guys, directly. And their paid user numbers are also up. And they just keep impressing every quarter. I mean, there's one company, SC, I mean, it's amazing. I've been following their earnings for the last 1 year now. And they have just impressed each and every single quarter. And we're up huge pre-market. 360 is hard, I will say this. 360 is very hard. However, if the market holds, if the market is strong, I do see this taking out all-time highs today. On SC, one play that I do see potentially happening on this name is, so I'll just write this down here for you guys, right? On SC, if we get a dip to 353, 350-ish, if we get a dip to 353, 350-ish, and then we take out 360, we likely see 370. That's a $10 trade, guys. So write this down if you have to. This is one scenario that I would personally play. If we get a dip towards 353, 350-ish, around that zone, and then we take out 360, so it's going to require patience, we likely see 370. So we can cash that. Bucky, if you're listening, this is for you, daytime trader. So a dip to 353, and then we rip back up and we take out 360, we likely see 370. Again, manage your accounts, position sizing is very, very important. Or in the morning, we just continue rip straight and it does not give a chance for no one to get in. Then I will simply miss this trade. I'm not worried, it's okay. Or maybe we just dip all day and not recover, right? So remember, a 353 dip, and then it takes out 360, so you have to let this play like this, a dip, take out, hold, and then boom. All right, something like this on the 5-minute chart. Boeing, very impressive, continued positive sentiment. If you guys are in leaps, congrats. And I think as long as we continue holding above yesterday's high, we'd likely see 240, 245 today. Or maybe sometime this week, sorry. Right? As long as we continue holding above yesterday's highs, we might have some retracement to 230. 230 is a very strong support. 231. Above that, above yesterday's high, I think pre-market we should be high. We should be green. And as long as we continue holding above yesterday's high, we likely see 240 even today. Right? So BA, if you're holding, congrats. And I do see this thing going much higher. All right. And the T will alert his exit when he does. But 240 is the next target that I see on BA. Uber, CEO Dara, he bought 200,000 shares at the market price, just under $45, right? I mean, what more bullish thing can be? I mean, if somebody that, at the top level of the company and he's buying shares at this price, that's nothing but bullish, right? I'm pretty sure he's not trying to trick no one. And so in the coming, but he's not buying it for this week, he's probably buying it for long term. There's still a gap fill remaining on Uber, which is near $40. So if you want to play Uber, for me, 46 and 47 is must. It is gapping up pre-market, and maybe today, given this sentiment, it probably runs all day because a lot of people will try to buy Uber, right? But I personally want to see this gap filled near $40 in the coming weeks. If we do get it, if we don't, I am not going to catch Uber in this middle action. I am not going to get stuck here. I will not trade here, because if that happens, I mean, you lose premium both ways. Either I will wait until it breaks above this level, it shows that there are more buyers lined up, or I'll simply wait until it hits this support zone right here, and then I'll probably collect some calls here for long term. All right, so it's a very patient trade. In between is nothing but a chop zone. Lucid, they didn't really announce. I didn't see any. I didn't really see any financials on Lucid, but what I did read some comments that their deliveries are up 13,000 reservations, up huge, and they're expecting 20K reservations after this. Which is a book value of $1.3 billion, which is a lot. And then they also have $4.8 billion on cash on hand, right? Which is very positive, so they can make other investments. A nice little daily bull flag. We caught the leaps here. I sold my leaps here, right? I took my nice profits. The reason I sold because of the iffy market. What if it just comes, dips again, and what might not happen? And if it continues going higher, that's fine. I'll simply wait for my next setup. I do want to grab more Lucid, leaves around 34. I will re-enter my position. Do we get that this month, next month? I don't know if we get it at all, right? But I believe we might have the chance. And above 50, we do have the gap fill all the way right here. You guys can see the closing price of $57. So the gap fill is just around 57.37-ish on Lucid. Maybe today we rip up and fill that gap, and then maybe we might consolidate. And if we take out the all-time highs, which is roughly right here, the all-time highs is 64.86. If we take above that, then sky is the limit for Lucid. Then maybe we might even see 100 soon, right? Because we know what EV names do when they squeeze. Um, the only question I ask myself now, the way they're valued, are they fairly valued? Right? I mean, are they fairly valued? That's the only question I ask myself. All that market cap, does it justify their numbers? Right? I mean, for many years, the car companies like GM, Ford, or any Toyota, Honda, they've been selling so many cars, but their market cap never really reached this high. But I do understand that these EV companies have more revenue streams in the future, not just cars alone. But for now, I'm just questioning myself. For the short term, is the market cap justified? Because I'm going to be trading it, I'm not investing. For me, investment will be buying equity and just holding it long term. But because I'm trading it, I want to make sure that I catch the right move for the next 1 week or maybe a month, right? But congrats to all the lucid holders. It's opening near 50 pre-market, and maybe it rips and squeezes, and maybe we fill the gap and dips. Let's see. Baba earnings, I believe, are today. Are the earnings today or tomorrow?
Thursday.
Sorry, Thursday. So earnings on Thursday. The Chinese president and the U.S. Joe Biden, they met yesterday virtually. Not much. I didn't hear too many news, but I think they might meet in person. T, I think, has more information he can share in voice chat. But for now, technically speaking, Baba just needs 172, and through 172, 180. And what are the two comments that we always make? I'll remind you guys one more time. 180 plus is investors' confidence. 220 confirmation, meaning back in play, right? Demand, okay? Demand, that's what it means. All right, 180 plus hold, investors confident that, you know what, okay, Chinese names are back, low from 140, 180. Investors start feeling a little confident, they might start buying a little bit, institutions might come and give more confidence. We might get some news from China. 1 year we had nothing but negative news. Maybe it's time that we get some positive news now. And then 220 plus is confirmation that, you know what, okay, it's back in zone, back in demand, and then Baba goes much higher, I think, in my opinion. But for now, short term 172, 180, anything can happen on earnings. Personally, earnings, I believe they announced amazing numbers, right? And obviously compared to 1 year ago. And Baba, if we look at the monthly, just gonna show you guys something, is trading at the prices that it was trading at in 2018 and in 2017. So you're telling me a company like Alibaba has no growth since then? This is nothing but a geopolitical, so you know how in the market we say this action was not based on their company performance. This was just a political and Chinese and the tensions and tariffs and whatever you want to call it based on that, right? So do they ease? Do we flag here for a bit longer, and do we see a V-shaped recovery? I think we do, but let's see. And Jumia, not much on earnings which I saw, but I did see that their revenues were, they beat their revenues, right? Pre-market, they're reacting negative to earnings so far, Jumia. But on Jumia, one thing that I do see happening, when I scaled into my leaps yesterday, we bought leaps on Jumia yesterday, right? We bought leaps on Jumia, and so let me just delete this, guys. We bought leaps on Jumia, but I didn't mention it was my scaling, so I was not expecting Jumia to just reverse from here, because I bought time for a reason, because I do see that there's a possibility they might flush below this support level into this zone right here, right, which is 17, 16, 15. They might flush it and then take it back up. And if that happens, I'm just gonna outline a scenario here. In case on Jumia, if they bring this stock towards $14, $15 or 16, 17 in this zone, and they rip it back above 19 plus, you're gonna see this thing to 30 so fast you won't be able to believe it. This will go to 30 so fast. All right, that's a 100% move on equity alone. So if they do bring this stock here to 14, 15, 16, around these ranges, and then it takes on 19 plus, we're probably gonna get a move towards 30 very fast. All right. Sometimes what happens is, let me show you guys this. When we played Tilray last year in 2021, T and I were long Tilray, right? A similar setup to Jumia at that time. We were in Tilray long. What they did, they took out all these support levels. They flushed people out here, and then all they did was, for the coming weeks and months, they just kept squeezing the stock, right? And in Africa, if you read up on some of the stats in Jumia for anything e-commerce related, they're growing a lot. That's one market which has a lot of potential to grow in the future. So Jumia, I went far. I'm not worried. Short term, I might not play, but long term, I do see a nice Jumia in 25, 30. It could take 1 month. It can take 3 months, maybe 6 months. But when it happens, it's gonna pay me nice. That's all I know. AMD, I sat on this thing for 6 months in this zone. I sat on it for 6 months, but all it took was 1 week for my options to more than double, all right, on leaps. And so just know that. So sometimes plays take time, but Jumia for now, I mean, maybe we rip today, who knows, maybe we just rip from here, which is great, we're in leaps. But just have this in your mind, the reason we buy leaps is because we might be expecting short-term downside, okay. Crowd, Mamba mentality for you. Crowd, I did not see news on this. I did not read it. But they gapped down yesterday and gave up gains. But I do, based on this, just this move alone, I do see a 200-day moving day, 200 DMA touch coming sometime around here. And if it holds this, then you can probably play this to the upside. It's simple. And then obviously we have a lot of support here. So you might get something higher lows here, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, and then boom. All right. Towards the upside. But I would be patient on my entry. I don't need to, I would not rush into it because just know why it gapped down. A lot of selling volume came yesterday. So you might get some consolidation near the lows here and wait for a proper reversal signal. And another stock that you want to go, Moderna. I think it's at a very strong support level. I know some of you guys added Moderna yesterday. I think it's a great play. And personally, I just believe if we take out yesterday's high, which was 236.60, right? If we just take out yesterday's high, I'm pretty sure you guys can get a test of 246. So that's a $10 move. On that $10 move, your option returns will be really nice. What we don't want to see with Moderna today is taking out yesterday's low. If it takes out yesterday's low, then we probably visit 210, 220-ish, all right? Because this stock moves up a lot. That's the reason options are very expensive, right? There's a lot of volatility in it, right? But this is at a strong support. Equity-wise, it has retraced from 496 to 231. This is almost a 50% retracement. The next number I believe is 62 or 61.8. All right. So let me do fibs on this, the retracement quickly for you guys. So the low, I'm just gonna do the retracement for you guys. Just check the percentage. 210. So 210.96 and the high was 497.49. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna do this for you. I'll give you guys the retracement numbers so I know if it's anything to do with fibs. Why am I not? This is calculus. Just give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so roughly 58%, I think. So it's down 58. The lows that it touched, which is a fib retracement, is around 61%. But I think we do get a bounce towards 280 in the coming weeks. But as long as we just hold these lows now, right? And so I hope you guys bought time on your calls. And if we take our yesterday's high, then you likely see 246. But based on the fibs, you should get a bounce. Based on the fibs from here to here, right? That's a retracement of more than 58%. The number is actually 61% or 61.8. And we should see a little move towards 246. As long as we take our yesterday's high. And we should not break yesterday's low, then you're just in a long consolidation phase. And I think some news came out where they're donating COVID shots team. Yeah. Okay, so that might be the reason, because they're donating, that means no income, no money, and so obviously investors don't like that, right? Some investors don't care about donations, they only care about the numbers. So that might be the reason, right? But again, 70 million, that's not, I think that's a great thing. Thank you, Moderna. Even though I don't believe in vaccines, but what else was it? Crowd. I think that's it, right? Any other charts? Net and Pro. Net, nice little bull flag on the daily, right? A lot of selling volume on November 5th, which is not good in an uptrend. It's a big down day. It gapped up huge, obviously, on earnings. But I think if it can take out this 210, 211 level, so net, if it can hold above 210, I remember looking at the chart yesterday, we do see all-time highs towards 216. And if it takes out 216, then blue skies, then 230, 250 will be very fast, given on the move that the stock is used to making. Don't forget, it went from 116 to 206 just in a month. That's a huge move up, so they might consolidate it here for a while. All right, and PROG. I think I saw this chart yesterday too. A great looking chart. The only thing with this is, I will just say one thing. High risk, high reward, right? This moves up 50 cents if you're buying equity. That's a shift of almost what, 15% of the account, right? It's gapping up pre-market, it looks like. But if it can get through 4, then you might see a squeeze towards 4.90 or $5-ish, right? But just know that this is a very volatile stock. If it takes a dump for $1, which it easily can, you will be down a lot on the equity. So stocks like this, you need to you need to have a good risk profile and be in with a reasonable size, so that even if it goes down a lot, you're not too worried about your account. So on a 10K account, if you're in with, like, let's say $3,000 and it goes down to 66 cents, you're gonna lose a lot of money. So it all depends on your position sizing on stocks like this and how much you're gonna go in. And plus, of course, fundamentals matter. What do you know about the company, right? Any catalysts coming up, right? So above 4 hold, I think you get a nice little move on it. And Amazon, I did not go over. I'll just go over this as the last stock. 35.50, right? 35.50, I think we need on Amazon. Yesterday, a nice little move in the morning, but then it gave up gains, but it held above Friday's high. But what I want to see is continue holding, if not 35.20, just continue holding in this zone right here. Okay, in this zone right here, which is the opening price of Friday, okay, which was 34.85. So continue holding above 34.85. I think we'll be fine. If we do give up Friday's opening price, then we might have lower all the way towards, like Goldman Sachs said, he gave us the levels. All right, so if you're in the weekly calls, good luck. And God bless. Just manage your accounts, guys. And BTC stocks, we nailed them. We nailed them. They're up huge. Just manage, because BTC, I believe, is taking a little dump. And with that, we'll end it, and we'll see you guys back